Have you ever noticed how sometimes we ruin the very things we prayed for? We wait for love, and when it finally arrives, we push it away. We dream of peace, but when life quiets down, we stir up drama just to feel alive again. It sounds insane, right? But deep down, I think we know why. Because the moment happiness shows up, something inside us whispers, "You don't deserve this." And instead of holding on, we break it. We run back to old habits, old wounds, old storms. Not because we want to suffer, but because suffering feels safer than joy. And today, I want to talk about why we sabotage our own happiness and how these patterns quietly shape our lives. It often starts in small, invisible ways. You promise yourself you'll show up early, but you arrive late. You want to reply to the message, but you leave it unread. You plan to chase the dream, but you find another excuse to wait. And on the surface, these things seem harmless. Just little slips, just bad habits. But underneath, something deeper is happening. Because every time we delay, every time we pull back, every time we make life just a little harder for ourselves, we are carving the same old path our brain already knows. A path that leads straight back into failure, disappointment, loneliness. And after a while, we stop even noticing it. We call it procrastination. We call it laziness. We joke about being toxic or messy, but really, it's self-sabotage. It's our way of protecting ourselves from the risk of actually changing. Because if we ruin things before they get real, then at least we can say it wasn't taken from us. We let it go ourselves. And in that twisted logic, we feel safe. Our brains were never designed to make us happy. They were designed to keep us alive. And for the mind, survival doesn't mean chasing joy. It means clinging to what feels familiar. So if chaos has always been our background noise, then peace feels suspicious. If sadness has always been our home, then joy feels like a stranger at the door. That's why, even when something good enters our life, our brain resists. It scans for danger. It whispers, "This is too good to last." And in that moment, we start creating the very problems we fear. We pick fights with the people who love us. We doubt opportunities that are actually safe. We build walls where there should be doors. It's not because we're broken. It's because the brain values predictability over happiness. And if the pain is predictable, it feels safer than joy that might disappear without warning. So we cling to what we know, even when it hurts us. That's the cruel trick of survival. It can keep you alive, but also keep you from living. And here's where the science gets even more interesting. Psychologists talk about something called the negativity bias. It means our brains pay more attention to pain than to pleasure, because in the past, noticing danger kept us alive. A rustle in the grass could mean food, or it could mean a predator. So our nervous system learned, better safe than sorry. The amygdala, the part of our brain that scans for threats, reacts almost instantly to anything that feels uncertain. And joy, as beautiful as it is, feels uncertain. It comes and goes like sunlight through clouds, but fear, sadness, chaos, they're predictable. And for the brain, predictable equals safe. That's why so many people leave a toxic relationship and then feel this crushing emptiness. Not because they miss the pain itself, but because the silence feels unfamiliar. Their nervous system panics, whispering, "Go back. At least you know how that story goes." It's also why so many of us abandon opportunities right before they get real. A job interview, a new project, even falling in love. Instead of moving forward, we freeze or sabotage it. Because our survival brain would rather cling to the old story, even if it hurt us, than risk stepping into a future it can't predict. So when we ask ourselves, why do I keep ruining good things? The answer isn't that we're weak or broken. The answer is that our brain is still running an ancient survival program, one that confuses the familiar with the safe, and the safe with the good. And it's not just our brains working against us. Culture plays its part too. Think about the stories we consume. The movies where the broken couple fights and makes up. The songs where heartbreak is proof of love. The endless TikToks romanticizing pain as something beautiful. Somewhere along the way, chaos became a kind of badge of authenticity. If someone is smiling all the time, we call them fake. But if someone is hurting, if someone is raw and bleeding in front of us, we call them real. And our brains notice that. They notice the likes, the comments, the quiet validation that comes when we present our suffering to the world. And slowly, almost without realizing it, we start leaning into that identity. We wear our pain like a costume because it feels more relatable, more rewarded than our joy ever did. I know, because I did it too. I made playlists full of sad songs, posted quotes about heartbreak, shared my struggles like they were art, and every time people responded, they saw me, they validated me. But all it really did was teach my brain to keep the cycle going, to keep sabotaging the light, just to stay connected to the dark. But here's the cruel price of self-sabotage. Every time we ruin something good, we lose more than just a moment. We lose trust in others and in ourselves. We push away people who might have stayed. We walk past doors that will never open again. And the worst part is, we begin to believe the lie that we were never worthy of those things in the first place. So the cycle deepens. We stay in jobs that crush us because chasing our dream feels too risky. We cling to partners who drain us because being alone feels too empty. We scroll through life day after day, convincing ourselves that this dull ache is safer than reaching for something better. But every time we choose sabotage, we are building a prison out of our own hands. And one day we wake up and realize the bars aren't outside of us. They're inside. The good news is sabotage is not a life sentence. Just because we've built these patterns doesn't mean we're trapped in them forever. The first step is awareness, seeing the loop for what it is. The next time you catch yourself picking a fight or delaying something you care about, pause. Whisper to yourself, this is the pattern. My brain thinks it's protecting me, but I don't have to follow it. Even naming it changes its power. The second step is patience, because you will slip. You will go back to old habits. And that's not failure, that's part of the process. Healing isn't about never falling. It's about learning how to rise again, softer, wiser, every single time. And then comes practice. Choosing boundaries over fear, clarity over comfort, habits that regulate instead of numb. It could be something as small as writing down what you hope for, or saying no to one thing that drains you, or letting someone you trust see a part of you that you usually hide. These tiny acts teach your brain a new kind of safety, one that doesn't come from pain. And with every step, you carve a path that leads away from sabotage and towards something better. I know it's hard to believe, but you are not broken for doing this. You are not weak because you've ruined good things. You are only trying to stay safe, even if your safety costs you your happiness. But safety doesn't have to mean sabotage. It can mean trust. It can mean calm. It can mean waking up one morning and realizing you don't feel as heavy as you once did. That you don't have to burn down the good just to prove you're alive. You deserve to keep the things that bring you light. And I believe that's possible for you, for all of us. So let me ask you, have you ever felt yourself sabotaging your own happiness? Share your story in the comments. Someone else scrolling tonight might need to know they're not alone. And if this resonated with you, subscribe for more, because together, we're learning how to rise from the shadows and finally step into the light.
Abstract advice. From the shadows we rise.